welcome to the Collabo podcast. Thank you for listening. Hello, and welcome to the cast of Pod.
Hello, Richard. So, what are we discussing today? Something happy and light?
I'm sorry, it's a very serious topic today, Tom. It's the death penalty.
The death penalty. Could you explain about that?
Yes, the death penalty is also known as capital punishment. This is when a government or a state kills someone because that person has committed a serious crime. So, for example, if person A kills person B, then in some countries the government will execute or kill that person.
Okay, I see. So the death penalty is also called capital punishment. Ugh. Anyway, you said that the death penalty is used in some countries. So which countries currently have the death penalty?
Well, I checked online, Wikipedia.
Damn it.
The fountain of all knowledge. Please don't use Wikipedia in your essays. But last year, a total of 53 countries still had the death penalty. However, of those 53 countries, most don't use the death penalty very often. The majority of uses of the death penalty happen in 4 countries. Can you guess which countries use the death penalty a lot, Tom?
Quiz.
Fun quiz.
China, Iran, America, and I give up.
You're kind of close. Saudi Arabia is one of the countries that use the death penalty a lot, and I think you said China and Iraq, and the other one is Iran. So the 4 biggest users of the death penalty: Saudi Arabia, China, Iran, and Iraq.
Okay, so how many people are executed every year?
Well, it's really difficult to say because the countries who use the death penalty are quite secretive. And they don't really say how many people have been killed every year. But Amnesty International estimate that around about 650 people are executed each year, although that number is falling. So Amnesty think last year, as 2020, the number of people who were executed was about 500.
Okay, so the number of countries using the death penalty is falling, as well as the number of executions.
Yeah.
I think we used to have the death penalty in the UK a long time ago, but the UK stopped using the death penalty in the 1970s?
Yeah, around about 1973, I think the UK stopped it, so about 50 years ago.
Okay. What about in Japan?
Japan still has the death penalty. It's usually used for people who have committed murders or multiple murders, so many murders. It's not used very often. Last year, 2020, there were no instances of the death penalty in Japan, no executions last year.
None, okay. So what methods are used for capital punishment? How do the different countries carry it out?
It depends on the country, but there are lots of different methods. Japan, for example, use hanging.
Ugh.
Sorry, that's a rope around the neck.
Okay.
Other countries use other methods.
Like the electric chair?
Yeah, the electric chair, sometimes used in the US and the Philippines, but not so much these days. It's more common in the United States to use lethal injection.
Ugh.
So that means you have an injection of chemicals into your body, and the chemicals will cause you to die.
Okay.
In Saudi Arabia, they tend to use a big sword.
Sword?
And they use it to cut people's...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, it's a bit of a grim topic.
Anyway, what are some of the arguments in favour of the death penalty? I suppose one would be that it is it's a suitable crime for things. It's a suitable punishment for things like murder.
Yeah, so this is the idea that if people murder somebody, then a suitable punishment, a matching punishment, is to be killed themselves. So the punishment should match the crime. This is called an eye for an eye sort of argument.
Okay.
That's one. There's also, and perhaps this is a stronger argument, perhaps is the deterrent argument. This is the idea that the death penalty is a deterrent to crime. It deters crimes, or it deters criminals.
Okay, I see. So deterrent. So that's if a criminal thinks that they might be punished punished with the death penalty, then they won't commit a murder.
That's right. So if you know that there's a death penalty in your country, you will be careful not to commit a crime that would cause you to receive the death penalty.
Okay.
So it's called a deterrent.
Deterrent. What are the arguments against the death penalty? I mean, there must have been mistakes in the past, right? So people were executed, but they were actually innocent?
Yeah, that's right. I think this is perhaps one of the strongest arguments against the death penalty, that there have been a lot of mistakes. Sometimes the police make mistakes, and that a person is executed who was innocent. That means they didn't do the crime. Amnesty International estimates that since 1973, about 180 people have been executed who were innocent.
180, wow, that's that's a lot. So they were killed, but they didn't actually do anything.
Yeah, so that's in the past, but also Amnesty estimates that at the moment there are people on what's called death row. If you're on death row, then you're waiting to die. You're waiting to have the death penalty, and Amnesty estimates that about 4% of people who are on death row are actually innocent.
4%.
So, although the number seems small, I mean that's yeah. I mean that's innocent people who are going to die.
Right. So, what does the UN have to say about this?
Well, the United Nations is completely opposed to the death penalty. In 2007, they called for the death penalty to be stopped. They said there's no evidence that it prevents crimes. They say it's not a good deterrent. They say that mistakes can be made, innocent people have been killed, and it should be stopped.
Okay, that's a pretty clear opinion they have. I heard that often the public, the regular people in a country, often support the death penalty. How about in Japan?
Yeah, it's true that often the population often support the death penalty. So even in the UK, though we don't have the death penalty, there's quite a lot of support for it. In Japan, the death penalty has a lot of support. A 2019 study found that 80% of people said that the death penalty is necessary. And in fact, this support has been strong in Japan for many years. So a large majority of people think that Japan should have and keep the death penalty.
80%. Okay. So the UN says the death penalty should be stopped, but many people want to keep it.
That's right. And that is the end of today's rather serious podcast about the death penalty.
Thank good. Next time, are we going to talk about something happier?
I do hope so, Tom. See you next week.
Me too. See you.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Collabo podcast. Please tune in next time.